So welcome again, all of you. It's good to see all of you. It's good to have all of you. Welcome to Bitcoin 101. Today we are going to just understand more on the Bitcoin's journey, the history and major events that have happened. Of course, we've said we're gonna give 3 pizzas and a soda and a big soda after these for the first 3 people who are gonna tell us the 3 major events that I'll have mentioned or I have shared during my sharing. And without wasting much further ado, we cannot talk about Bitcoin without going way back in 1970s, because all we know is that cryptocurrencies come from mathematical science based on cryptography. And it was in 1970 that a group called Yippies, led by an activist from the US called Abby Hoffman, started publishing newsletters. But their main key goal back then was just to teach people on how to tap phone. I'm sure most of you have heard how to tap phones, like how to steal services from telephone providers. And this group, of course, grew now to what we call cypherpunk. And cypherpunk started in early 1990s. And basically cypherpunks, their main goal was just privacy. These were hackers who they were not coming to hack your system. They were not coming to steal your data and stuff. For them, what they were working towards is just privacy. Data privacy, information privacy. And of course, as privacy grew, these people thought of, why don't we come up with now what we call a currency, a digital currency based on trust, transparency, and security, privacy, and transparency, that it's not controlled by the government. This is how, of course, digital currencies came to be. But it's good also to note that the emailing list that Satoshi sent an email to talking about Bitcoin started in 1992. So cypherpunk started in early 90s. Cypherpunk emailing list started in 1992. And basically, this emailing list was just for people who were interested in technology to maintain their privacy. So they never started these as a way of coming up with a cryptocurrency. Like I said, privacy was a key thing that these gentlemen were looking forward to achieving. They were looking forward to achieving. So, of course, now it's good to know that in 2008, October 31st, Satoshi Nakamoto, who is still mysterious to date, published the white paper that created Bitcoin. He published the white paper that created Bitcoin, and he shared with this emailing list. And as I was doing my research, it's good also I notify you that not everybody was interested about Bitcoin at first. And a lot of people were very skeptical about it, because Bitcoin was not the first digital currency. It was Satoshi had just taken other digital currencies, looked at what they were missing, and then he came up with Bitcoin. And some people were still very skeptical about it. So major events started in January 3rd, 2009. Satoshi did the first or released the first node. We call it the Genesis block. That was in January 3rd, 2009. So this is the journey now of Bitcoin, January 3rd, 2009. And the first transaction was between Satoshi and a gentleman called Hal Finney. May he rest in peace. Where Satoshi sent him some Bitcoins just to test the system, because these are some of the cryptographers that were looking forward to seeing Bitcoin grow. Now, another major event that happened before I screen share happened in May 22nd, May 2010, where Lazo Haynes, the reason as to why we are giving people Bitcoins, pizzas today, he got someone in the forum to send 2 pizzas to his house in exchange of 10,000 Bitcoins. So we've seen today The 10,000 Bitcoins are worth around $360 million. And it's major. That's quite huge. So in 2011, that is 2010, in 2011, the first Bitcoin exchange was launched, and it was originally called, it started for gamers. It was for gamers, and it was called Magic, the Gathering, And short form of that is MTGOX. MTGOX started in 2011. It was the first major exchange that was launched by some gamers. And then April 2011, it's good also to note that this was major for the cryptocurrency space, because Satoshi Nakamoto sent his last email to the developers and the emailing list. And he said he had left to go and do other things. And nobody has ever heard from Satoshi again. He's still mysterious today. We don't know whether Satoshi is a group of people, whether it's a he or a she. And of course, it's a blessing to us people who believe in cryptocurrency, because for me, I like the fact that nobody knows who Satoshi is. And him being mysterious for me is a blessing to the crypto space. Of course, another event that happened same year in June 8th, 2011, MTGOX had earned around $900,000 in commissions over a period of 24 hours. And I think this was the biggest earnings in one night, in one day, $900,000. And of course, now you will see now from there the major events that happened. So allow me to share my screen, and I hope we are taking notes, because some of these events are which are gonna lead you to earning a pizza today as we come to the end of the session. So allow me to share my screen so that we can see what other major events that happened, in the crypto space to date. So just one second. So today, like I said, is a special day, because today we are celebrating the first Bitcoin transaction, that was openly done. And it's also good to know that before that, there's a group, there was a website called Silk Road. And the reason is why you hear a lot of people talking about that Bitcoin was used to do illegal stuff, majorly was because Silk Road was being used in the dark web. And some of these events that I've talked about, it's just way before 18th August 2011, even after Satoshi disappeared. So from there, you can see I'm starting off when Bitcoin was around the price of $10. And the first major event that happened was the developers released a new version. And this Bitcoin version 0.4.0. And you can read these on bitcoin.org for more, of course, for more details. And of course, this new version that was released, and I hope all this is visible. I hope it's visible enough. It was just of which it was to improve the wallet private key encryption. So this what happened, and this was in September 2011. And then the second major event that happened is that back to basics, something called Hello was introduced. Welcome to Bitcoin timeline. Obviously, there's a lot more history of the currency form before the rate started being officially tracked on exchanges. So this is where the Bitcoin prices were being, of course, tracked, and it was called Hello, back to basics. So another major event that happened was this event called, it was in Hollywood, a debut on this TV show called The Good Wife, which is set to air a Bitcoin for Dummies TV episode. So this was the first time I think now Bitcoin was becoming more and more known to a point where now some people who are also TV producers and documentary producers and TV shows started mentioning Bitcoin on their shows. Moving on swiftly, and it's also good to know that 2011, January 2011, Bitcoin price was at $4, $5, 4.99. And this is where I usually ask people, if you knew Bitcoin in this is January 2012, and there's a reason as to why I've talked about January 2012, because same year, Bitcoin had one of the biggest, the first all-time high. So you can imagine in January, you will have gotten Bitcoin at the price of $4. You'll have gotten Bitcoin at the price of $4, around $5 in January 2012. So, and you can see this graph shows you that Bitcoin is going up and of course coming down. And after that, after the happy wife, happy price, we had, of course, another platform was formed called Paxum. And Paxum, of course, it was a leading payment platform, drops Bitcoin and starts selling off its Bitcoin asset. These are people who had already come on board to test Bitcoin. And then what happened is that on around this date, these people sold all their Bitcoins and dropped Bitcoin. I think we will also see something similar that happened just a few days ago. So from there, another event that happened is Hacker Haste, a private network that network Linode is hacked. I think this was the first hack that happened, where almost 50,000 Bitcoins were stolen from the e-wallet of customers, including Gavin Anderson, Bitcoin lead developer. And of course, it was a bit embarrassing because Gavin was one of the major people who was left. Partly when Satoshi left, Gavin was one of the major people who were working on developing Bitcoin protocol. So the first hacker haste happened where 50,000 Bitcoins were stolen. Moving on swiftly, another hack happened. And this happened in May 2012. And Bitcoin Nika, one of the first Bitcoin exchanges, is hit again. And another hacker left with 18,000 Bitcoins. 18,000 Bitcoins were hacked from this exchange called Bitcoin Nika. And one of the things I tell people, I do appreciate the fact that these events happened, even the hacking. Why? Because it helped a lot of people improve on security. I usually say experience comes after you've gone through something that will make you better, not bitter. So if these hacks never happened, I'm sure Bitcoin protocol would not have the security it has today. And the beauty is, remember, it's not the Bitcoin blockchain that is being hacked. These are exchanges being hacked and wallets. So, of course, it's good to note that double digits returning. Of course, this again was just amazing because Bitcoin came back to now double digits, where we had Bitcoin price moving to $9. And in June, of course, if I read here, Bitcoin ever volatile, you can see still Bitcoin was volatile back then in 2012, has been slowly rising again over the last few months after the price peaked again in June 2011. And a lot of people think it's just a passing fad. It's good to know that this was what people were thinking back then in 2011, that Bitcoin is just a passing fad. Same thing, because I think this week I've gotten some few calls from people telling me that Bitcoin has crashed. And you can imagine even in 2011, when Bitcoin was at a low of $9, still people thought the same thing, that Bitcoin was a passing fad. So the first Ponzi scheme came in August 2011. So if you've ever lost money in Ponzi schemes, Bitcoin related, it's good to note that private Ponzi scheme, as Bitcoin was becoming popular, more people are trying to make a quick buck. And this is why I always tell people, we tell people during our Bitcoin 101, Bitcoin is not a get rich quick scheme. If you're thinking you're going to come here and you're going to be a millionaire the next 1 month or 2 months, forget about cryptocurrency. And this, you can see it started way back in 2011, 2012, where people just thought like Bitcoin moved from 4 zeros, digital 1 to $10. And they thought, yeah, you can make a lot of money within a very short period of time. It's not like that. It's not like that. So in August 2012, a massive Ponzi scheme crashes and burns, making headlines around the news. I think this was the first major Ponzi scheme related to Bitcoin that started. This was in August 2012. So if you ever lost money in cryptocurrency through Ponzi schemes, just know that they started way back. And then another major event, and I really like this, the Bitcoin Foundation was launched with the main aim of promoting the uptake of the new currency. This was in, of course, this was in, this was when? Let's see exactly when was this? This was around 22nd of September, 22nd of September, the year 2012. And you can see the price of Bitcoin back then was at $12. $12. This is in 2012. One Bitcoin was in 2012. And then a major event happened after the Bitcoin Foundation, and the first Bitcoin halving, of course, happened in December 2012. It happened in December 2012. And of course, halving, for people who are new in the cryptocurrency space, is that we know very well that Bitcoin is issued through what we call proof of work. And proof of work is mining, where miners get a reward for verifying transactions every 10 minutes. And it happens in 4 years, that every 10 minutes is some amount of Bitcoins that are issued. The first 4 years were between 2009 to 2012, where every 10 minutes, miners will get a reward of 50 Bitcoins. We went to the second phase, which was between 2012 to 2016. And every 10 minutes, people will get what we call 25. The block again halved in 2016. Between 2016 to May 2020, we were getting, of course, what we call 12.5. And currently, miners are getting a reward of 6.25 every 10 minutes. These will continue until the year 2140. And of course, this halving has had a major role with increase in Bitcoin price, because Bitcoin price is pegged on demand and supply, and when supply cuts by half, of course, more people are learning about Bitcoin, so the prices tend to go high. So I'll tend now to move a little bit faster, and of course, the next historical event that happened is BitPay makes history. Bitcoin, its voice heard all over the world, and BitPay is helping pave way. The world lead in Bitcoin payments processing. BitPay surpasses 10,000 Bitcoin merchants. This is one of the places where people are trading Bitcoins, buying and selling Bitcoins. And BitPay, of course, it made history because it had done over 10,000 Bitcoin transactions without payment fraud. So this is one of the things that happened early in 2013. And of course, going deeper into 2013, bugs breaks blockchain. A bug in version of 0.8 of the Bitcoin software causes temporary fork in the blockchain. These are some of the things that happened, not really relevant. I don't want to go deeper. But it's good also to note that in which day is this? In April, March 31st, going to April, Bitcoin burst through $100 for the first time. And I think this is major. So this was in April 2013. If you had $96, you'll have gotten one full Bitcoin. And you can see the same time Bitcoin went to a high of 228 and it came crashing down again to $66. These are some of the things that happens. And when most of the time I tell people 35% retracement of Bitcoin, it's normal, like what have just happened. We've seen almost close to, I think, 40% retrace currently. And I think for a lot of us who've been in the crypto space for quite a while, it's nothing. That's just normal and it's expected. So moving on swiftly, amidst the hype, rising hype, Forbes journalist Kashmir Hill decides to challenge herself to live only on Bitcoin for a whole week. I am sure this journalist today, he or she is not smiling wherever they are. She spent Bitcoins for a whole week when Bitcoin price was how much? $113. So you can imagine how much Bitcoin she used back then. Of course, again, Bitcoin takes us a tumble, and these were now you'll hear words like Bitcoin bubble. Bitcoin is like gambling. Why? Because the prices are very volatile. The prices are very volatile. This way back in 2013, and Bitcoin says a tumble after starting the year at $13 and reaching heights of $235 in April. Prices closed a low of $66. So you can imagine a person who had bought Bitcoin at $235. And again, same year, it comes down to, in April, you buy at $235. And in July, you are at $66. You can imagine how these people are feeling. And of course, some people will sell out of what I call fear. And, and at times I tell people, don't ever sell cryptos when you are on the receiving end, as in when the market corrects downwards. So of course, it's also good to note Silk Road. I talked about Silk Road when we were starting, and Silk Road, it was one of the platforms that were used by people to do illegal activities on dark web. And there's a book I'm reading called The End of Money. You can look for it. And they have really described what has already happened with Silk Road. But of course, Silk Road is a secret online black market called Silk Road that uses Bitcoin for shady transactions. In October 2013, the plug is finally pulled and the Bitcoin price plunges over 18% from $127 to $103. And as a result, it hit a low of $85. And this is something you'll always see. When you see there's a market correction, like I usually say, in any investments, there are gamblers, there are speculators, and there are investors. And one thing you'll always see is that for gamblers, when the market starts going down, they panic and they sell at a loss most of the time. For investors, for them, they will look for more fiat and they buy more. Why? Because they understand that, of course, markets will come back up. So we are still in 2013, and there's something that happened over here. And China's foreign minister Wang Yi takes positive stand. He announces that the confidence that people in China are free to participate in the Bitcoin market and promises to adopt a long-term perspective on the currency. I think China is one of the countries that have had very contradictory statements in regards of cryptocurrency. You can see it started way back in 2013. And then immediately after that, in fact, that was in around November. And in December, China changes its tune. Less than a month, does a U-turn on Bitcoin. The Chinese central bank bans financial institutions and payment companies from using the currency, leading to a surprise collapse. So these are some of the major things that you see. There are some people who will speak. There are some people, there are maybe institutions that will talk about Bitcoin, and we will have that correction. It's normal. Like I said, there are people who are just here for one thing, and one thing is just to make quick bucks. So if they see a slight major correction downwards, what they do is that they panic and they panic sell. And of course, if more people are selling than more people are buying, of course, the prices will go down lower. But it's good to note that in December 2013, we had the first all-time high of Bitcoin, where Bitcoin went to around, in some exchanges, it went to $1,169. But in our slide today, you can see it went to a high of $1,132. And we come now to 2014, and Mt. Gox, the first Bitcoin exchange, was hacked. It was hacked in 2014. And of course, the world's Bitcoin exchange, Mt. Gox, is bankrupt. It was bankrupt. And Bitcoin drops from a high of 1,160 in December 2013 to under 400 in February 2014. So you can see in 2 months, Bitcoin had gone a low of, I don't know what percentage is that, but you can imagine from 1,160 to 400, that close to 3 times low, 3x is down, 3x is down. And then, of course, now we are in March, and will the real Satoshi please stand up? Will the real Satoshi please stand up? And a news article on March 6, 2014 claims that the real Satoshi Nakamoto is in fact a guy called Satoshi Nakamoto. I was reading this article, but this gentleman later denied that he is not Satoshi Nakamoto. Another major event, of course, Bitcoin loses currency status, and this was a disaster. Following the footsteps of China, America's IRS decided that Bitcoin is a property rather than a currency, opening it up to capital gains, tax. This was in April 2014. Another major event that happened as we move on, of course, with great power comes great responsibility, and a Bitcoin mining pool, Ghash, reaches 51% of all hashing output, giving it the power to sidestep the decentralized of Bitcoin's blockchain and control a lot of its functions. We all know that if a miner takes over 51%, Bitcoin blockchain will no longer be decentralized. And this event happened way back in 2014. But again, it was corrected immediately by the developers, and it never caused any harms. Now, of course, it's good to note that in 2014, a whole bunch of hopeful retailers get on board with Bitcoin over the summer, including Microsoft, Dell, Braintree, PayPal, PYPL subsidiary, and online shopping giant Overstock. These are some of the people who started now accepting Bitcoin way back in 2014. They allowed people to trade with Bitcoin. Now, moving on swiftly, October 2014, Bear Whale breaks the bank. A random trader offloads the biggest deal. He offloads the biggest deal ever seen in Bitcoin. He tried to sell 30,000 coins on Bitstamp exchange at a limit price of $300, well below the current mid-300s trading price. So this is a whale who tried to sell off his Bitcoins at a trading limit of 30,000 Bitcoins on Bitstamp. Moving on swiftly, this is in January 2015, hackers break into Bitstamp exchange through a targeting phishing attack on employee Luca Kodrick, gaining access to its servers and stealing almost 20,000 Bitcoins, worth over $5 million back then. So you can see hackers don't hack on blockchain, they usually go for exchanges. That's one thing you should note. This was in January 2015, where hackers stole 20,000 Bitcoins from Bitstamp exchange. Now, another thing happened, and of course, this was in February 2015. Of course, the currency come into its own. Bitcoin is now accepted by over 100,000 retailers worldwide. This was one of the major things that led to Bitcoin growing. This was in 2015. And some of the retailers, like I mentioned earlier, is Microsoft, Dell, Wikipedia, Twitch, Greenpeace, Expedia, and PayPal. So they started accepting people to pay using Bitcoin. Another hack happened. Of course, Coinapal, the service that lets you secure value on your Bitcoin in fiat is ironically hacked. So it was kind of an insurance where like you could insure your Bitcoins or secure your Bitcoin value, the value you have in Bitcoin with fiat currency. It was hacked in March 2015. And it's also good to know that in April 2015, Bitcoin laid bare by board member. A Bitcoin Foundation gets a brand new member in March, and it seems that Oliver Jensen's first order to duty is divulge a whole load of Bitcoin secrets in Reddit post claiming the foundation is effectively bankrupt. The foundation that was started in 2011 to help Bitcoin grow, of course, there was a claim that it was bankrupt. Now, it's good to note Coinbase, one of the biggest exchanges that started in the US, was first licensed in the US. It opened its door to UK. It's one of the biggest exchanges to date, both in UK and in US. I don't know whether they started their trades here in Africa. But there was some news I read, I think in 2019, they wanted to open 3 countries, including Kenya. So I don't know whether they're still active. So moving on swiftly, we're still in 2015. And another major thing that happened in 2015 is that the past few months sees Bitcoin prices generally sitting between 220 and 240. But on June 16th, Bitcoin breaks out the doldrums, spiking to a high of 252 on the back of shaky Greek economy. So you can see the charts that Bitcoin price has always been very volatile, and as we move swiftly. Bitcoin XT creates constitution crisis. Bitcoin co-developers Mike Hahn and Gavin Anderson. These are some of the people who are left Bitcoin development by Satoshi. Of course, sprinkles a bit of chaos in the community by releasing a new, slightly different version of the software called Bitcoin XT. This was in 2015. And then FTC crackdown in a move that doesn't impact the price very much, but makes unregistered Bitcoin derivatives firm very nervous. Bitcoin is classed as a commodity in the US, and it's not seen as good news by the community. This is another thing that happened. And then, of course, moving on swiftly, October 2015, a shot in the arm. This in a massive win for crypto. The EU declares no VAT on Bitcoin trades and rules in bona fide currency. It's bona fide currency. So these are some of the things that happened that also, of course, encourage Bitcoin growth and development. Moving on swiftly, now we are in 2016, and Craig Wright insists that he's the real Satoshi Nakamoto. In a headline, Grammy claimed that convinces a whole load of people worldwide. And I think these are some of the things we were reading with Louis and we were laughing. And this gentleman came out and he claimed he was the real Satoshi Nakamoto. And a case, of course, he was sued. And the case was ongoing and he later lost the case. So moving on swiftly, Mike Hans says goodbye. Mike Hans, a Bitcoin code developer who earlier launched competition Bitcoin XC software, leaves the community in a dramatic fashion, declaring Bitcoin has failed. And of course, these are some of the things I say. Along the way, you see some of the developers getting out, maybe to go and do something else on the side. And of course, Mike Hans was one of them, and he claimed that Bitcoin had failed. And of course, Bitcoin has proved him wrong. Now, this is in 2016, March around there, and the Japanese joins the party. Japanese government recognizes virtual currency as similar to real money, able to make payments with the potential to digital transfer. Of course, this was major news. And another thing, blockchain takeover, Bitcoin reaches a closing price of 467 and its highest since September 2014. You can imagine. Since 2013, 1169, Bitcoin was trading below $200 till this day. And then another thing that happened is that Bitcoin gets a mere boost Second halving is coming up. People are excited and Bitcoin reaping its benefit. Of course, we move to Britain and I'm gaining almost 50% between June 1st to 18th. And you can see the price movement of Bitcoin. It's usually, in fact, if you notice, bull market is very short, but bear market is very long. So within June 1st to 18th, Bitcoin had already gone 50% up. Driven by the momentum of Brexit, prices lose almost 10%. Those gains on June 21st after a poll shows that UK voters are leaning toward remaining in the EU. So you see some of these major events happen and of course they happen and they do change the price of Bitcoin because of course people expect different things to happen during different times. And second halving, Bitcoin second halving happened where Bitcoin, of course, issuance moved from 50 to 25. This was in 2016, July. And of course, volatility stays low and the price recovers rapidly. Another hack happened in August and Bitfinex hack. This exchange was hacked and almost 120,000 Bitcoins were lost in that hack. Another hack happened again and Reuters gets a scoop and it's pretty. According to the data, a third of Bitcoin trading platforms had been hacked at some point and the risk of Bitcoin holders in double because they're such as thing as depositors insurance for cyber theft. And then this is the reason as why you hear a whole lot of people telling you don't store your Bitcoins on exchanges because a lot of hackers will always go to hack Bitcoins on exchanges. Moving on swiftly, cyber ransom. For a month, Bitcoin has been hovering between 615 to 595, but a New York Times article on central bank usage busts it out of the slumps. Of course, in November, the previous president of the US, Donald Trump, was elected, and around the world, investors exit the dropping equity markets to look for new opportunity, which favored Bitcoin. Of course, fear. They didn't know how the markets will, of course, react to him being elected. December 2016, Bitcoin was really volatile, but Christmas time, it never it brought a lot of things. But in January 2017, we saw Bitcoin hit the first time $1,000. In January 2017, Bitcoin hits the first $1,000. Now from there, moving on swiftly, Bitcoin China break, and then China feel like a couple that keeps breaking up, badmouth the other, and then getting back together. Well, they are back in the breakup phase. With China largest exchanges blocking people from withdrawing their Bitcoins. And you see, again, and I think you'll see also one of the major reasons as to why we have these pledges that China also has a big role to play in what happened. So weekly wars, the SEC rejects an application from superhero twin brothers Cameron and Tyler Wicklow to launch the first Bitcoin exchange trading fund, ETF. And then Japan takes lead. Japan officially recognizes Bitcoin as legal tender, and a move that seems positive, but many actually be a cynical attempt to regulate currencies and impose restriction on how people use it. So in May 2017, Russia joins the crowd. Russia suggests that it might legalize the use of cryptocurrencies, a pretty major deal for Bitcoin, which sees an immediate price jump. So you'll note that a lot of these news happen. There's a major, shift in the prices, whether it's downwards or if it's positive, Bitcoin goes up. If it's negative, Bitcoin goes down. So for the first time, of course, in March 2025, in June 2011, in June 11, 2017, Bitcoin broke the first all-time high of 2,954. And you can imagine on March 25th, the same year, you could have bought Bitcoin at less than $1,000. It's amazing. This was 2017. And then another thing happened. Segwit takes off. The controversial segregated witness Segwit software upgrade is approved. Oddly enough, sparkling a slight dip in the price, perhaps as traders price in the possible impact. So another thing that happened, McAfee bets big. There's this gentleman, of course, who said Bitcoin Crusader John McAfee predicts on Twitter that Bitcoin would reach 500,000 within 3 years, and promising that he would eat his own dick if it didn't. And of course, this guy, I don't know whether he was arrested or he's still on the run, John McAfee, because of tax issues in the US. So I don't know where he is today. Of course, another fork in the road, and in a massive upset, the ultimate event occurs. And of course, we saw Bitcoin Cash fork from Bitcoin. Its first successful hard fork. Bitcoin splits into 2 separate versions, and boom, Bitcoin Cash was born. And this was in around August 2017. And something to note about forks is that if you had equivalent Bitcoins in your wallet, when the fork happened, you were given equivalent of Bitcoin Cash. And I think a whole lot of people did really enjoy that. China shuts up shops. Another big thing happened, and of course, one of the biggest global outposts of Bitcoin trading. The Chinese authorities have always have a love-hate relationship with the currency. In September, they make their boldest move yet again, closing all Bitcoin exchanges in the country. And I think we've seen all these happen in so many case scenarios. And again, Bitcoin Gold trips at launch. Bitcoin takes another hard fork to create Bitcoin Gold in an ambitious bid to bring the currency back to its decentralized roots. All board the Swiss railway. The Swiss get bored with Bitcoin in a big way in October. The National Railway Service SSB begins selling Bitcoin through its network of ticket kiosks. This was in 2017. And then it's good to note that in December, this was around 16th December 2017, Bitcoin hit its first all-time high of $19,000. In some exchanges, it went to a high of 19,686. But here from this chart, of course, TradingView, they are saying it went to a high of around 19,188. This was the first all-time high of Bitcoin in 16th December 2017. And then, of course, South Korea, the world's largest cryptocurrency market, back then in 2017, suggests it might follow China leads and shut down crypto exchanges, calling the market irrational, overheated. Because you can imagine, by June, Bitcoin was around 2,000. By December, Bitcoin was 19,000. So the rise, of course, in price was making a lot of institutions think this thing does not make sense, because the growth in price was just, of course, way too high. And then China totally bans Bitcoin trading on 1st February 2018 and shuts down all mining activities, leading to a massive price slump. So you can imagine, here we are talking about Bitcoin in December was around 19,000. And in February 5th, 2018, Bitcoin went to a low of 6,800. So of course, another thing that happened is naysayers come out in force. After such a show-stopping December, there were high hopes for Bitcoin in 2018, but after the currency lost over 3,500 in early March, the mood shifted. And of course, I think this war is happening right now. Nobody's talking well about Bitcoin, right? Because of the price shift that we've seen the last 1 month or so. But you can see these are major events that happened. In 2018, in March, you could have gotten Bitcoin at a low of 3,500. And today you'll be smiling all the way to the bank. Of course, another thing that happened is after experiencing a dip since March 29th, when prices fell over 10% and stayed there, Bitcoin is back with a 14% up. So another thing that happened, Bitcoin just keeps falling, losing all its recent May gains. But both the US and Canadian governments also announced a major plans for a crackdown on crypto investment schemes in what is named Operation Crypto Sweep. And I think 2017 also, 2016, 2017, because of the price growth, saw a lot of Bitcoin scams coming on board. So, and of course, governments, of course, they'll try to protect the citizens by, of course, thinking on how can we really protect the citizens by cracking these schemes. Another thing that happened in 2018 is that around June, advertisement ban, UK banking group Lloyds and Virgin Money bans their customer from using credit cards to buy Bitcoin, while Twitter, Google, and Facebook all outlaw crypto advertisement. I think if you're in crypto back then and you posted anything on Facebook, you remember your account was.
You can meet everyone. I think it is somebody.
Right. Just 1 second. Sorry about that. So we are in 2018. And of course, you can see the first Bitcoin ET is rejected by Security Exchange Commission. Bitcoin isn't having a great time of it. And in July, the SEC rejected yet another week close application for a Bitcoin ET, setting prices again around 3% down. Moving on swiftly, crypto crash. It's a bad month for Bitcoin. Starting August at 7,729, Bitcoin fell just to 5,880 in August 2014. And the reason as why I decided to share this today is just for any person who's been worried about the volatility of Bitcoin price and how the markets are working. You can see this is not the first time Bitcoin has had something happens in the social media, somebody says something, and then the price is correct. And if you're a good investor, you know when the markets are correcting downwards, that's when you load more. It's not when you exit the market. So I've had some people call me and they're like, what is happening with Bitcoin? And I'm telling them it's a correction. It's expected. And of course, I'll show you as I end some of the charts that happened in 2017. And you'll see the major Bitcoin correction where like we even had 60% correction. And of course, strong hands will always keep their Bitcoins. Now, of course, another thing is that all press is all good, right? September 5th sees another dramatic drop in price, just 10%, which carries on going a few days after news that Goldman Sachs is ditching its plan to open a Bitcoin trading exchange. You see, Goldman Sachs had said they want to start a Bitcoin exchange, and then because of the crashes, of course, they said they're not going to do that. So moving on swiftly, I'm almost at the end. We are closing to 2019. Big banks mean business, hands up after all the drama last month. The big boys really are starting to wake up and show interest 9 years later to the party. BlackRock. This is one of the biggest investment or portfolio management company in the whole world, with several trillions of dollars in their portfolio. And of course, they showed interest in crypto. And then mining difficulty, of course, drops again. Bitcoin price enters another yet declining towards the end of 2018. A hard fork in the Bitcoin Cash blockchain makes it worse, although it doesn't directly impact the original Bitcoin. Confidence dips across the crypto market. Now, in January 3rd, 2009, of course, this is when Bitcoin started. And a decade later, this is January 3rd, 2019, Bitcoin turned 10 years. Bitcoin turned 10 years. And moving on swiftly, some other major news that happened, of course, the price keeps on going back up and down, up and down, up and down. And we see a 10% up. And then, of course, another thing, gotcha, there's been a couple of April Fool's jokes that had gone wrong before the tech world. This time, a joke has the opposite effect on Bitcoin, gets a bump on its bank. So it's good to note some other key things. I'll just highlight. I won't read everything. Taproot is one of the genius Bitcoin developer Peter Uwell unveils 2 Bitcoin improvement proposal BIP that could be the next big upgrade for major cryptocurrency, offering major privacy improvement. These are people who've been working on Bitcoin major and big time. Now, of course, you can see this was in June 2019. Bitcoin bounces back to a high of $10,000. And you can see this way after it came down to around March 2018 to 3,500. So people who understand how the markets work, any person who entered in March 2018, of course, you can see their money had done 3x by June 2019. Okay. Of course, Trump wears in. President Trump gets involved in a big way. Turns out he's not a fan. In a series of aggressive tweets, he claims Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are based on thin air and accuses them of encouraging unlawful behaviors and activities. I think this happened, and I think we saw, of course, price of cryptocurrencies going way volatile. Now, another thing that happened is that a Republican leader throws weight behind Bitcoin on the back of the cryptocurrency hearing held on the US Congress, prompted by the announcement of Facebook new digital currency, Libra. A number of Republicans came out in praise of Bitcoin. Of course, this happened in July 2019, where Facebook said they want to launch a cryptocurrency by the name of Libra. Now, another thing that happened, New York Stock Exchange, this is around September 2019, launched its long-awaited market for Bitcoin futures through Commodity Exchange, IEC, this New York Stock Exchange. And of course, you can see mainstream media is now getting into cryptocurrency 10 years down the line. China gets back into the game. I think China has been really up and down with Bitcoin. And you can see around October 2019, the price jumps after Chinese President Jinping comes out in support of blockchain technology. He wants to invest further in cryptocurrency. And even before another month goes down, China Central Bank launches another fresh crackdown on cryptocurrency, and Bitcoin begins to decline again. So something happened and Bitcoin gets festival boosts. Bitcoin gets a nice little Xmas. Of course, it jumped 10% after the China ban. Another thing, now we are in 2020. CME partnership to be proud of. Of course, CME trading options on it. Bitcoin futures contract started. Bitcoin makes its big time to the big time in February. The currency gets its own emoji revealed by Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey. And I think this early 2020, it was around, I think, February. And of course, Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors in the whole world, he says he's not keen on Bitcoin. In 2018, he rather melodramatically called it a rat poison squared. But that didn't stop the cryptocurrency community from having some fun with him. I think to date, he doesn't still believe in Bitcoin. But of course, for him, he believes in old kind of investments, buying companies and building them from collapsing to major big heights. So of course, we see another saga, Craig Wright, the Australian crypto guy who claimed to be Satoshi in 2015 to somewhat skeptical community that basically pushed back with, now you are not. Well, he's back and he's not happy. This guy kept on claiming that he is Satoshi. And then coronavirus hits crypto. And I think we majorly experienced this. And I think this happened in, 1 hour. I think Louis will also attest by this. The crypto market dipped within 1 hour. If you looked at your market in March 2020, you'll have run away. So of course, the plague strikes, COVID-19 crashes into our lives, the markets around the whole world take a dive. This is where even oil market went to zero the same day. So moving on swiftly, well-known Bitcoin bull Mike Novgrat, CEO of crypto merchant bank Galaxy Digital, tells CNBC closing bell that if the Bitcoin price doesn't double up by October from the high of 7,236 on April 2020 and reach 20,000 again by the end of the year. So of course, he predicted that will happen in 2020. And of course, we see prices roaring up. End of March, we had a 34% increase. Bitcoin moved to 9,580, and it closed the end of March. April, it ended up at 8,600. Another thing happened in 2020 May. Of course, we saw that halving where Bitcoin issuance dropped from 12.5 to 6.25. And of course, halving has been greatly, of course, priced in when it comes to Bitcoin price and growth. So I don't know what will happen because I do believe we are not yet really at the Bitcoin all-time high of 2021. So moving on swiftly, of course, you can see there's so many things that happened that have influenced price of Bitcoin. And this is another thing, US Pentagon creates Bitcoin-based war game. So Intercept reveals that in 2018, the US Pentagon created a war game scenario in which the disillusioned young Gen Z in the first 21st century are recruited to fight the establishment and rewarded with Bitcoin for their part in Z-Billion. So another thing that happened, of course, Nasheed Taleb, outspoken economist, and other books, including Skin in the Game and Black Swine, the impact of high improbable, takes on Twitter to trash talk about Bitcoin investors. Something else happened. Good news for the US bank. Of course, this is in August. No, this is in June. This is in July 2020. Good news, US banks can now hold Bitcoin on the behalf of their clients, meaning that the traditional mainstream players can now finally get into the act. If you are one of the listeners who we have here today, and I think this is a conversation I was having with a friend of mine, I was telling them, whether you believe in Bitcoin or not, your major bank will bring Bitcoin to you. They'll bring Bitcoin to you. And of course, it will just be you converting now your money at a fee in your bank. So of course, again, we see July 2020, Bitcoin surges and breaks 10,000 again. Congressman is confident. Tom Emmer thinks that we emerge from the catastrophe of COVID, Bitcoin will only get stronger. Moving on swiftly, as I come almost to the end of great events that have happened. And remember, we have a question at the end of this session where 3 people will go away with free pizzas and of course a soda. So another thing happened. It was going great with the price staying steady at 11,000 and 12,000 for a whole August. And then in September, that a crash drops the rate back to 9,000, ending the day at 10,000. And of course, we see it's good to know that speaking in a conference, Jack Dorsey, the founder of Twitter, speaking in a conference in Norway, the Bitcoin bull, who has previously predicted that it could be the world's sole currency by 2030, says Bitcoin future is where content exists forever, where it doesn't go away. He's one of the strongest believers of Bitcoin, and I really respect this gentleman. There was a time he was buying $10,000 worth of Bitcoin every week. So these are some of the people that we follow dearly just because they love Bitcoin and they've been there in the space for quite a while. Of course, again, it's good to note that October, nearing October, this is September 2020, Bitcoin miners have created more than 18 million Bitcoins, totaling to 18% of the 21 million limit. So you can see we have less than 3 million left to be mined in the next 190 something years. And some other good news, October 2020, PayPal accept Bitcoins and prices hits a record high. And of course, if you had bought Bitcoin a year down the line, you'll have had 1x already. if you had hold your Bitcoin. And then end of 2020, we saw Bitcoin crash its previous all-time high of 19,686, and it hit $20,000 for the first time in history. And of course, from there, in December 2020, again, we saw 26,000. Happy New Year. We saw Bitcoin soaring a high of close to 36,000. And then Bitcoin breaks the barrier of $40,000. And this is in January 2021. And these are some of the major events that have happened this year. Some of the major events that have happened this year, with Bitcoin giving us an all-time high again of course, we saw Bitcoin break $68,000, and again now the mask event. I think this is one of the major things that we've seen. Of course, Bitcoin had a slide back, and the whole cryptocurrency market cap. We had 200 billion wiped off in a single day. This is 2021. And then Elon Musk came, and in another example of crazy influence, Elon Musk can weirdly online, he adds the Bitcoin hashtag on his Twitter profile, and the price goes through the roof, gaining 11% over the day. Now, another thing happened, and this is in February. Of course, Tesla taps into a big time bounce. Remember that when Elon Musk tweeted Bitcoin, the price jumped. Well, this time he actually put his money where his mouth is, with a whooping great corporate investment from Tesla, and it sends the stock through the roof. Another thing that happens is that Bitcoin breaks 50,000 for the first time. And of course, this is now where we saw a lot of Bitcoin maximalists put laser lasers on their eyes, and they say they're gonna remove those lasers once Bitcoin hits $100,000. Good to note also, around this February, Bitcoin for the first time hits a whooping $1 trillion in market capitalization. $1 trillion, where Bitcoin broke above $53,000. And then again, PayPal moves into Bitcoin. A new crypto-focused business unit is opened up at PayPal, which will expand the economy, crypto forays beyond buy, sell, and hodl. Another thing that happened in 2021, okay, confiscated Bitcoin auction. The French government is getting rid of 29, of course, a Europe million worth of their crypto loot at an auction house in France, most of which was confiscated in the cleanup of the GitHub hack in 2019. Another thing that happened in 2021 that had a major influence in the Bitcoin price, of course, Morgan Stanley offers Bitcoin access. It's the first big US bank to offer its client access to Bitcoin funds, putting it back on track to achieving its sixth consecutive month of positive, lifting prices 3.54%. Now, major news that happened, Elon Musk is typically Musk style, announcing over the Twitter after buying 1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin last month, Tesla will now accept Bitcoin if you want to buy a car in Tesla. I think this was another major, of course, announcement that Elon Musk did. And then, of course, the prices went up to a high of $63,000. And then another thing that happened is, of course, a new version of Bitcoin was upgraded. For the Bitcoin Taproot fork, soft fork to Bitcoin version 0.21.1 arrives, of course, which is one of the biggest upgrades yet. And this now to also share with you that people are still developing Bitcoin. It's still not yet what it's meant to be. We're gonna see a whole lot of good things happening. What happened later is that this happened just the other day. Of course, Twitter again and the power of Musk. Elon abandons Bitcoin, but it's good to know that he said Tesla will not accept Bitcoins, but they are not selling any of their Bitcoins. And of course, we saw a spin in the price where Bitcoin went down 13%. And then TradingView launches the Satoshi All-Time History Index, a brand new way of measuring charts and buying the smallest units of course, Bitcoin. And of course, credits to TradingView. All this information, I got it from their website. It's an amazing place where you can always go and check Bitcoin prices and stuff. So we really do appreciate the work they are doing. Now, of course, a question is, has Tesla sold its Bitcoin? With the Musk literal meddling from Musk, Bitcoin reached its lowest point since February, when one word tweet makes people think Tesla has sold off its Bitcoin. But remember, Tesla, Elon also tweeted and said they have not sold any of their Bitcoin, And today is a big day. Of course, the reason is why I was sharing all these things to show you how Bitcoin price has been moving. It's just to tell you one thing, that today is May 22nd. And of course, there's a gentleman who called Lazo. He's a legend in the crypto space. And if I open these, you'll see that this gentleman bought 20,000, two pizzas with 10,000 Bitcoins. And if I can share here, of course, those 10,000 Bitcoins with today's price is around $367 million. $367 million. So those are some of the major events that happened in the crypto space since Bitcoin started. I know I've taken a whole lot of time, and I hope we are taking notes. And of course, now before we go to the questions, and before I hand over to Louis, there's something else I wanted to share. Just a quick short summary of the bull run of 2017, because I'm sure you've had a lot of people asking you what is happening to Bitcoin. I think even I sent a post on Facebook just jokingly, and I was asking people what is happening, crypto experts, what is happening. And I want to share with you these. Allow me to share screen just to show you something, that whatever is happening is not something strange. And of course, we're gonna come out even much more stronger. So just 1 second. We're gonna come back much more stronger. So this some of the, of course, this is what happened during the bull run in 2017, where Bitcoin moved to a low of $1,000 to a high of $19,000. And of course, you can see the first dip was minus 38. We had another dip at minus, this is between, in fact, this is between June, just in June alone, you can see June 2016 to June 2017, and majorly June here, you can see Bitcoin started with a low of what? 38, minus 38, another minus 38, another minus 33, another minus 38, another minus 36, and another minus 29. But you can see, if you're keen, you can see Bitcoin is on an upward trajectory. It's going up, but it's having very huge, major corrections. And why I've shared this is just to tell you, do not panic when you see crypto market going down 20 or 30%. It's normal. It's normal. And this was the case point of course, of 2017, where we saw these major corrections before Bitcoin moved to its all-time high. So whatever is happening, and people who've called me asking me what is happening in the cryptocurrency space market is just normal. This is something that happens. It's going to happen not even once, not even twice before we see the next all-time high. So I want to pass the baton to Luis. Luis, you can go ahead and tell us what is next. And then
I was thinking, Lawrence.
Yes.
I think we just do like a very quick Q&A. I think time has really gone, so I think
Yes.
at least we can share the links for the newsletter in the chats. But maybe you can just take some questions as we also ask the pizza the questions, so we can reward the winners.
Okay, no worries, Luis. That's a great suggestion. I think we'll just go ahead and just do the honors. And of course, I had already said one thing. Today, we are offering 3 pizzas and 1 big soda to 3 people who will be the first to at least tell us 3 major events that happened in 3 months in different 3 years. The first 3 people to type in there, you can go ahead and tell us, based on what we have shared today, what were the 3 major events you saw that had great, of course, impact in the Bitcoin ecosystem and the volatility in price. And of course, Luis will be in the chat room just to, of course, help us reward the first 3 people. So the first 3 people to give us the 3 major events, different years, 3 major events, the month, what happened, and the year. You get yourself a pizza delivered to your doorsteps, courtesy of Decrypt. And as we celebrate today's Bitcoin Pizza Day. So the floor is on. And of course, if you have any question, go ahead and drop it. So I'm waiting for the first person to drop in. The answers, and you're gonna have to be specific. The first 3 people, of course, you're gonna get pizza delivered to your doorstep. Courtesy of Decrypt, of course, as we celebrate what this gentleman did in 2010, May 22nd. So for the people who are scared about the price movement, that's the reason as why I shared with you that a lot of stuff gonna go, China gonna come on board and ban Bitcoin. The next month they accept Bitcoin. And of course, it will of course lead to massive price, either increase or decrease. So you don't have to worry it's how the markets are. But you're gonna have strong hands to hodl even during a 50% correction, because the market will still come back up. So any person who have answered?
I think I'm just seeing 2, Carol T, I think the first one to answer. We have Lewis Kim. So I think let's await some, then we can at least confirm if what the answer is correct. Yeah, but in the meantime, I think that was a very insightful share by Lawrence, and I think this is what makes Bitcoin stronger every day. And you shouldn't, get deterred from the current price action. Even if you see the price going to 20,000 in the next couple of months, I mean, that is normal. Just keep learning, ask questions as much as you can. If something is not clear, you can actually ask it again here, then we can get it to discuss. I've seen Titus asked about leverage trading, because actually leverage trading is a big contributor to price action, because you realize when about $1 billion worth of money is liquidated by people taking short or long, that of course has an impact on price. So yeah, it is a very one of the major contributors, and actually that's how even exchanges make out of money. That's business they're doing. So yeah, Lawrence, back to you.
So, we are waiting for people to send their answers for free Bitcoin pizza and a soda of your choice. Courtesy of Decrypt, we're gonna reward 3 people with pizza of your choice.
Yeah, Valerie is asking also, are we able to use Coinbase Exchange? Yeah, so Valerie, that's a good question. At the moment, if you're within Kenya, you cannot use Coinbase. In terms of, you cannot convert your bitcoins to fiat. You cannot convert your cryptocurrencies to hard cash. But you can actually buy Bitcoin. You can store Bitcoin within the Coinbase exchange, but you cannot transact as of exchanging your currencies to fiat. But it is working in Kenya. Only that you cannot use it to it. So, what is the alternative to Binance Exchange? Okay, we have several options where you can convert your cryptocurrencies. You have local Bitcoin, that is one of the platforms, local Bitcoin. We also have Paxful. We have which one else? I think Remitano. And then of course we have individual traders that we know that maybe if you want to maybe exchange a big amount of bitcoins or cryptocurrencies, you can always refer them to you because we know them and we know that they are in for the long term. So I hope that answers you, Valerie. So yes, there are other alternatives to Binance Exchange. What else? I think Lawrence, back to you. I think I've seen some answers, so I think you take it up from there.
So okay, great. Let's see. Remember, for you to get the pizza, you have to tell us the year, the month, and what happened. So I think I'll just go fast to the first answer from Caro T. And she says Satoshi sent his last email in April 2011. That's fast, and it's correct. April 2011 was the last time Satoshi sent his email, and he left to do other things. That's true. Of course, other things, first Ponzi scheme was started in August 2012. That is true. And the first halving in December 2012. Now you've shared 2 things in 1 year. So Carol, you need to add another 1 more thing in a different year for you to get the pizza, but your answers are right. So one more thing that happened in another year. Don't send us 2 things that happened in the same year. Just 1 thing. We've shared since 1970 to 2021. So there's a lot of you can share. Lewis, you're not very specific. So I'm saying tell us the month, what happened, and the year. So for you, you're taking it as a block. 2009, 2010 Genesis block. Of course, just to give you the answer over that, Genesis block started in January 2009. I want that specific answer. So if you can type in as fast as you can, of course, you'll be able to get that pizza delivered to you. Muhammad Yassin says 2020 COVID, Australian bushfires. Some of the things you shared, they're not crypto related or Bitcoin related, but it's good. Of course, we respect Kobe Bryant. He was one of the greatest of all in basketball. Titus, of course, April Fools 2019, CME Partnership 2020, Tesla 2021. Specific months, Titus, for you to get it, specific months.
Maybe Lawrence, you can.
For Carol. Okay. What I said is this: there's so many things we shared today, including like specific months, an event that happened in a specific year. So our question was, can you tell us just 3 events that happened, the specific month, different years, but 3 events? That's what we were asking. So Carol will be our first winner because she shared about 2011 Satoshi disappearing. I can see, let me just go back. So the last email, which is 11th April 2011, first Ponzi scheme, August 2012, and then she has sent another answer which she says second halving happened in July 2016. So she's the first person who has given us specific events, 3 specific events with the months, different years. So I get Carol, congratulations. Of course, we're gonna get your details. Pizza will be delivered to your doorstep as we celebrate, of course, Bitcoin Pizza Day. So let me check. There's a question over here by Zoom user. He sent me directly. He's asking, is the Bitcoin anti-environmental friendliness a major concern in the long term? And is there a possibility that Bitcoin will have to consider a move to PWO, proof of work platform?
Maybe I can answer that, Lawrence.
Sure.
Actually, it was part of my what I prepared for the news. So maybe just let me share the screen.
Let me make you the host then. Just 1 second.
Yeah, so let me share the screen as I answer that question. So let me go right ahead and do that. So actually, part of what the news I've shared today, hope that is visible. I hope you can hear me.
Yes,
so
yes.
It is actually from John Lennon, the son of course, I'm sure you know the Beatles. He says it's out BTC carbon print links today to mindless consumerism, which is actually true. Most people have asked me about Bitcoin's environmental friendliness, and I think that's this defines it very well. It's mindless consumerism. So he tweeted saying that, let me just share that. He says, people wearing jeans and drinking coffee, actually I just drank coffee myself right now, and eating almonds and avocados, and driving cars and taking flights, and using their cell phones and buying new computers, complain that Bitcoin uses electricity, 70% of which is renewable. So you see that it's a baseless discussion that actually doesn't apply to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is actually it's environmental friendly. It doesn't use what people, or rather maybe what media tells you. We even seen Jack Dorsey says he's actually working on even making it more environmental friendly as we go by. So that is not the case. And I think the reason why we are using proof of work, that is what makes Bitcoin have value, proof of work. I'm sure we're going to have more efficient ways of proof of work system, more or less like a hybrid system, which will make it more environmental, even friendly than even cash that we know. So I hope that answers you the question that about Bitcoin's environmental friendliness. So I think that does it for me. Let me pass the thing right back to Lawrence, so that we can at least carry on with the other session.
So thanks, Luis, for that. That's great. At least I'm sure this gentleman called Zoom user, at least you've gotten your answer from what Luis has said. So let me just check, of course, who else has shared something. Lewis is back with January 3rd, Bitcoin Genesis block. Let me see whether you have other specific answers, Lewis. Lewis, I don't see any other specific answer from you, so let me look for another person. Andrew Shira, you talk about that January Genesis block. April 14th, Coinbase IPO, 22nd. Okay. April 14th, which year? When did Coinbase IPO happen? Andrew Shira, which year? You left the year. April 14th, which year? Coinbase IPO happened, which year? And then 22nd May 2010, 2 pizzas were bought. So Andrew, your answer, one of your answers does not have which year that happened. So again, Lewis comes back with 2011, 2012. That's not really specific. I also need the month. Titus, April 1st, 2019, Gotcha, 14th January 2020, CME partnership, 8th February 2021, Musk, first Musk tweet. So Titus, You got it right. I think you're the second person to get 3 things that happen different years. And you're right. So, of course, Andrew Sheila, you have, of course, clarified that Coinbase IPO happened in April 14th, 2021. You had left the year. So Andrew Sheila, you're the third person. So I hope that was fun. I hope you've learned a lot. So what we're gonna do is that if you don't mind, you can private message me your contacts, and then we can organize how you're gonna have your pizza delivered to your doorstep. So so I think, let me just share these. Luis, I think you can answer also these. Let me just share it. There's a question that was shared directly to me as I wait for these people to send me their contacts. So just look at the chat. Luis, somebody is asking, Titus is asking if you are far from a pizzeria, can we get Bitcoins to our addresses? Luis, can we? I think it will be fun if you just eat the pizza. But what is your thoughts, Luis?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I think I don't really get the question. If we are far from Pizarra, can we get Bitcoins to addresses? Okay, I don't know what you really meant, but
okay, what he's asking is, instead of him getting the pizza delivered, can he have Bitcoins instead? Instead of him getting the pizza delivered, can he have equivalent of the cash sent in Bitcoins?
Well, I think the whole essence was to eat the pizza because
by celebrating Pizza Day.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's only fair that I think if you want the Bitcoins, then that's a smart choice actually, if you think of it. So yeah, I think we'll see how that goes about. So maybe in return, maybe you can I don't know do what, but anyway, I think that will work. I'm cool with that. I don't know whether Lawrence is okay.
I'm okay with it. You can choose whether you want the Bitcoins or you want the pizza. We can convert whatever pizza and soda, how much it is, and then we can send equivalent of Bitcoins to your wallets. So there's another question over here from Zoom user. Is asking, what is the major difference between POS and PWO, and why is POS considered better? Luis?
Sorry, I was having a bit of a network problem, but sorry, the question was about POS and POW. So, what is the major difference between POS and POW? So, for anyone who is maybe finding the words, POS means proof of stake, and then POW means proof of work. So I think we have one of our sessions that we talked about. I think actually, Lawrence, you're the one who did the comparison about proof of stake and proof of work. But of course, there's a long answer to it. But because we are having this brief session, the major difference is that proof of work requires you to actually run what you call like equipment. You don't really, you need to run specific equipment to run the Bitcoin network, because Bitcoin is one that uses proof of work. Proof of stake is an efficient way that doesn't require you to use a specified mining chip. You can use any normal like computing power that even your a normal CPU runs. Of course, it's more efficient. You just need to have like a constant. You need to be plugged in online for the period of that you are staking. But that again brings a challenge in terms of its privacy, number one, and also what values it gives the network. I think I can do like a small write-up, then I can share with you the whereby you can actually read and find out the differences. But for now, proof of work is what makes Bitcoin as it is, and that is why it is considered better. as a store of value. But for everyday running, proof of stake, of course, seems to be the better version of the blockchain system. But we every day everything gets to improve. So we'll see how that goes. Thanks for that.
Okay, awesome. I think, Luis, we've found our 3 winners. I hope everybody has found value in what we've shared today. And as a celebration, try to go and have a piece of pizza somewhere, enjoy. For the people who have won, Carol, Titus, and who? Carol, Titus, and Andrew, congratulations. And of course, I'll be reaching out to you in a few so that you can decide whether you want the pizza delivered or you want to share your wallet address, which we share with you, equivalent of BTC, as we commemorate the biggest day ever that happened. So God bless you all. God bless your families. Remember, don't be shaken by what is happening in the market. Stay positive, keep reading. Don't entertain negative news, fund and stuff. Don't panic sell. Just hodl. Hodlers, of course, will get their wallets filled up.
Zoom user, I think your hand is up. I don't know whether I was to something, but I've just shared the link of what Lawrence shared, the trading view history. I think it's on the chat, and also our Telegram channel. So I don't know whether Zoom user had a question.
Zoom user, there's something you wanted to say? I think with that, if there's no question, if there's no any other additions or subtractions, Luis, we can call it a day for today. And of course, it's good also, there's someone who chatted me and they were asking if next week we can have a session on meme coins. So I think part of what we'll discuss next week is meme coins. I saw somebody, of course, ask whether we can discuss more on what meme coins are. So with that, I want to wish all of you a blessed weekend. Let's stay safe. Let's keep on taking care of each and every other person. Let's remember COVID is still here. So take care of yourself, take care of your family. I do wish you blessings in all you do. Let's keep on learning. Cryptocurrency space is just beginning, and with the institutional coming on board, we'll also see price volatility. Let it not shake you. Remember, all reds are for stacking Satoshis. It's not time to exit, and this is not a financial advice. Do your own research, and I hope you found value in what we've shared. So, Luis, parting shot.
I'm okay. That's okay. Thanks.
Very cool. God bless you all. See you again next week on Saturday, same time, same place. Have a lovely weekend.